Content warning. This video is about a sensitive topic involving loss of life. We've removed any graphic content to comply with YouTube's guidelines. We aim to provide informative, factual journalism on a tragic event in the public interest that does not dismiss its seriousness. All clips are used under the doctrine of fair use for news reporting and analysis. Kissimmee, Florida is located in Osceola County, a city that is known for the charm of its historic downtown and the vibrant pull of nearby theme parks. For locals, it's a place of community and history. For visitors, it brings the joy and enchantment of Disney's magic and imagination. Growing up in this city, young Madeline Soto had both worlds around her. The simple familiarity of home and the wonder of a place that drew millions of children and families from across the globe. Madeline Sophia Soto was born on February 22, 2011 to Jennifer Soto and Tyler Wallace, who later separated. From the beginning, she was a bright and curious child with blonde hair, blue eyes, and a beautiful smile. Her father, Tyler, described her in the simplest but most heartfelt way. She was happiness. She was a joy to be around. She was quirky and intelligent. She was curious. Her parents' separation meant her biological father was not always present in her life as he wished to be, but his love for her never wavered. Despite the difficulties with her mother, Tyler made it clear that Madeline's happiness was his priority. In public, he shared his hopes that when she was old enough, she might choose to live with him, not by pressure, of course, but by her own free will. Madeline also found warmth and acceptance in her stepmother, Tatiana Wallace, who treated her not as a stepchild, but as her own. Sadly, the same closeness did not exist in her relationship with her biological mother. At age 13, Madeline was a student at Hunters Creek Middle School in Orlando, Florida. She lived in an apartment with her mother, some roommates, and her mother's boyfriend, Stephen Stearns. Filled with curiosity and creativity, she loved music, dancing, art, drawing, and journaling.
On the morning of February 2nd, 2024, around 8:30 a.m., Stephen reportedly dropped Madeline off near Hunters Creek Middle School. It's interesting to note that, according to Stephen's statement, he didn't actually leave her at the school. Instead, he claimed to have let her out a few blocks away near a church, allegedly because the 13-year-old was embarrassed by his car, which was a silver Lincoln MKZ. Later that afternoon, around 4:30 p.m., Jennifer went to the school to pick up her daughter, only to learn that Madeline had never shown up. By evening, when a missing persons report was filed at the Orange County Sheriff's Office, Stephen and Jennifer told deputies that they had gone together that morning. According to the couple, Madeline was wearing a green hoodie, white Crocs, and possibly black shorts when Stephen last saw her. However, upon later investigation, the couple admitted that Stephen had been alone when he drove Madeline to school that day. In reality, Jennifer never saw her daughter. She remembered waking briefly when Stephen took the dogs outside, but then went back to sleep. And here's the part that makes her actions even harder to excuse. Jennifer actually received an email from the school notifying her that Madeline had been marked absent. Instead of panicking or rushing to figure out what had happened, she texted her daughter's teacher, Brett Bonini, only to learn that Madeline hadn't been in any of her classes. Her entire attendance sheet showed she never made it to school. Furthermore, Madeline's phone was found left at home, and although she had a history of running away at times, leaving her phone behind was quite unusual. Yet when Stephen casually mentioned later that day that he had reset his phone while trying to update it, Jennifer still didn't flinch. Instead of connecting the dots, she brushed it off. What makes it worse is that when the heat turned towards Stephen, she didn't protect her child, she protected him. Even with her daughter absent, school warning her, the teacher confirming she wasn't there, and Madeline's phone left behind, Stephen erasing his own phone, Jennifer stood on Stephen's side, and whether you feel like it was intentional or not, she completely overlooked the obvious.
Jennifer Soto, by all accounts, had some mental health issues. Multiple reports suggest she was prescribed several psychiatric medications. In fact, she herself admitted to federal officials in later interviews about her bipolar disorder, which is a significant condition but by no means untreatable. Occasionally, she'd also face side effects of these medications, including episodes of deep depression, unusual mood swings, or being completely knocked out at night. By no means does this justify a mother being oblivious to her child's well-being, however. It is also deeply troubling how Jennifer repeatedly changed her statements, often contradicting herself. For example, she initially claimed that she, along with Stefan, had dropped her daughter off at school, but later revised her story, saying that she had been sleeping that morning. Yet, while filing the report with the Orange County Sheriff's Office, she accurately described what Madeline was wearing before her disappearance. When investigators pressed further, Jennifer's account wavered. At first, she insisted she wanted to believe she had seen her daughter that morning. Later, she explained that Madeline had chosen her outfit before going to sleep the night before, and that was how she knew what she had been wearing. Even that, however, is debatable given that the night of Sunday, February 25th was Madeline's 13th birthday celebration. Her mother couldn't attend the party and arrived home late that night, already struggling, only to go to bed shortly afterward. Jennifer claimed that she couldn't function properly that day and was feeling a wave of depression unlike anything she'd experienced in years. The birthday party itself was held at a relative's house due to her work commitments, and her aunt later brought Madeline home. She reached the condominium around 10 p.m. where Stefan was already present watching over Madeline. She realized that she had forgotten to take her meds, which likely caused her symptoms. Jennifer reportedly sent Stefan to sleep with her daughter alone in the guest room upstairs so that she could get a proper night's rest. Tragically, that was the last time Jennifer ever saw her daughter alive.
Stefan's involvement in this case is undeniable, and the full extent of his actions are far more horrifying than anyone could have imagined. This man, an obvious predator, had been assaulting Madeline since 2022 when she was just 11 years old. In fact, investigators revealed that Stefan's Google Drive contained approximately 1,700 images depicting CSAM involving Madeline. In some of these images, she was even asleep. Furthermore, metadata from these files indicates that they date back to August of 2022. The years-long trauma Madeline endured was so severe that it began to affect her daily life, enough for classmates, tutors, and counselors to notice signs that something was wrong here. Interviews with these individuals, along with their reports, were compiled in a nearly 900-page document released to the state attorney's office on Wednesday, June 13, 2024. Friends and classmates described Madeline as often anxious and withdrawn. She frequently relied on a companion to move around school, and sometimes she would arrive in tears, expressing sadness without explaining to anybody why. One friend even shared that Madeline complained about her mother. She called her bipolar and recounted that her mother had threatened to abandon Madeline and kick her out of the house when she turned 18. But this behavior wasn't only noticed by her friends. Her teachers also witnessed concerning signs. Her science teacher noted that Madeline frequently appeared exhausted. She had trouble concentrating and rarely turned in her assignments. Another teacher observed that she grew increasingly irritable and carried a negative attitude in the weeks before her disappearance. These observations were especially pronounced when Stefan was around compared to when he wasn't. Furthermore, her phys ed teacher shared that she rarely participated fully in class activities, often citing asthma and frequently needing to use her inhaler. But remember, this is the same vibrant girl who loved things like singing and dancing and was described by her chorus teacher as very participatory. Her school counselor also reported that she struggled with anxiety and panic attacks. This was largely set off by tensions at home and her strained relationship with her mother. The counselor also noted that she appeared to be doing better whenever Stefan wasn't present in the household.
But there's something even more unsettling here. Despite everything, Madeline never directly pointed a finger at Stefan. She would complain about her mother to friends, but she never mentioned him. Maybe, just maybe, her mother was forcing her silence. And yet, the evidence of Stefan's violence is plain as day. It's no wonder Madeline often tried to run away, even telling her friends she wanted to disappear into the woods and never come back. What makes this worse is that Madeline's friends, teachers, and her counselors, people who were supposed to be less connected to her than her own mother, could already see what was going on. If it was this obvious to outsiders, then how could her own mother, Jennifer Soto, claim not to know? In an interview with federal investigators on May 1st, Jennifer admitted she was raised in a household where she was constantly told never to trust men. As she put it, "My mom put that in my body, never trust a man." And yet, despite carrying that belief, Jennifer allowed Stefan into her life. In fact, Records showed that she even had doubts about him at certain points, as she admitted in that same interview. "I've always told him that my biggest fear was that this would turn into a Woody Allen situation, where the stepfather, daughter, or the dad grooms the child, then turns 18 and ends up running away with him. I thought that I could trust him, that he was safe, that he was a good guy, that he was taking care of my baby and loved her the way I loved her, but I was wrong." In the same interview, Jennifer also admitted she was never comfortable with Madeline and Stefan sleeping in the same room, but she still allowed it on certain occasions. She even stated how she could count on one hand the number of times that happened. But the 1,700 photos found on his drive, along with the other data stored in his phone that he deleted, tells a very different story.
It should be noted that Jennifer and Stefan weren't exactly a couple. Their relationship was on and off, and they officially broke up in June of 2023. Before that, the three of them, Jennifer, Madeline, and Stefan, all shared the same master bedroom. After the breakup, however, Jennifer asked Stefan to move upstairs, and while Jennifer publicly denied having any doubts about Stefan, it's clear from her own words that part of her did. But even that isn't the full story. An incident report from this interview was also written and released by the Orange County Sheriff's Office. Jennifer Soto continuously protected Stefan Stearns and was questioned about why she prioritizes Stefan Stearns over Madeline. Jennifer Soto did not show the same level of emotion or care in regards to Madeline's ongoing victimization by Stefan Stearns as she did her disappearance. It appeared to me that she had already accepted that the victimization was happening, and her emotion appeared fictitious. So with the signs as clear as daylight and professionals outright saying that Jennifer had accepted what was occurring, it is reasonable to conclude that maybe she was fully aware of what was going on between her daughter and her boyfriend, and potentially even complicit in allowing it to happen. And investigators didn't take long to pick up on those same red flags. Just 2 days after Madeline's disappearance, detectives zeroed in on Stefan and arrested him as their prime suspect. One day before that, on February 27th, the Orange County Sheriff's Office had already issued a public release asking for information about Madeline's whereabouts. Around that same time, Stefan gave his first formal interview with police, where he claimed that he and Madeline decided to leave early that morning to grab McDonald's before school. According to Stefan, they had a good time, but by around 7:30 a.m. when they were at or near the McDonald's, he claims Madeline fell asleep in the car. He says he woke her up, but she didn't want food anymore, so he dropped her off a few blocks from the school. Throughout the conversation, though, detectives began questioning parts of Stefan's story that didn't quite line up. And sure enough, Stefan did his narrative multiple times. The next day, a massive search was conducted by the sheriff's office, but sadly, there were no results. By now, signs were getting clear that it might not even be possible to find Madeline alive, but still, police tried their best. They scoured the area where she was last seen, chased down tips, and followed every lead that came their way. That same day, detectives obtained Stefan's consent to search his cell phone. He may have thought he was playing it cool, but sure enough, damning evidence was found against him. In addition, deputies searched the family's Kissimmee home for more clues. Through what they uncovered, they became certain of one thing. Stefan had never dropped Madeline off at school that morning.
By this time, Stefan and Jennifer had checked into a hotel in Orange County where they stayed with Stefan's father. According to Jennifer, Stefan was visibly panicked, especially with police now in possession of his phone and closing in fast. Later that night, reports state that Stefan quietly left the hotel and drove all the way down to Northport for unknown reasons, only to return by the following morning. Deputies noted that Stefan's parents lived in Northport, but his mother later insisted she never saw him during the trip. The reason behind this, however, was revealed days later on May 14th when Stefan made a phone call to his father, who asked why he had driven to Northport on February 28th. Stefan reportedly answered, "I wanted to grab a few things and get my ducks in a row, kind of prepare myself for whatever was coming, but I couldn't find what I was looking for." When his father stated that he hopes to understand how the whole situation came about, Stefan responded defensively, claiming, "Well, I didn't start it." Even after being reminded that he had actively participated, Stefan's only acknowledgement was a simple, "yeah." According to police, he never directly denied killing Madeline during the conversation. Investigators believe that during his Northport visit, Stefan likely used his parents' Wi-Fi to access his Google account and delete visual evidence of essay he perpetrated. However, his efforts were in vain as police were able to recover the files.
Soon, the police made their move. From Stefan's hard drive, investigators found lost files and images showing Stefan assaulting Madeline. With that, deputies had what they needed and Stefan was placed under arrest. His initial charges at the time were sexual battery and possession of CSAM. Additionally, investigators discovered a photo on Stefan's phone showing one of Jennifer's roommates nude in the bathroom, a picture she later confirmed that was taken without her consent. Same day, detectives also interviewed one of Stefan's ex-girlfriends. She described their short relationship, explaining how Stefan, even after breaking up with Jennifer, would often show up at Jennifer's house to spend the night. His excuse was that Jennifer and Madeline couldn't sleep without him. Naturally, this raised red flags for his girlfriend, and she ended up breaking things off with him.
By March 1st, a news conference was held where investigators were confident that Madeline was already dead. Surveillance footage showed Stefan tossing Madeline's backpack and her school-issued laptop in a dumpster at the Kissimmee apartment complex around 7:35 a.m. on February 26, the same day that she was reported missing. Other footage showed Stefan driving around with what looked like a limp body in his car. Authorities believed that this was Madeline, who was later confirmed to have been strangled to death, most likely at her home. So what was quoted as a good time and a short trip to McDonald's for an early breakfast was Stefan driving around with poor Madeline's body in his car. Additionally, at 4:30 p.m., Orange County deputies finally recovered Madeline's body from a wooded area off of Hickory Tree Road in Osceola County, tucked between two trees. This spot was hardly a 20-minute drive from her home in Kissimmee. Right after this discovery, detectives sat down with Madeline's mother, Jennifer. We've already gone over that interview, but there's one shocking truth from it that overshadows every other mind-boggling detail. Jennifer violently broke into tears when police showed her proof that her daughter was being essayed in her own home. But when she was told about the possible death of her daughter, not a single tear fell. When detectives confronted her about this, Jennifer replied, "Because that was physical proof. That was proof of what was happening. That destroyed me. Until that picture of her, asleep or not asleep in the car, is not proof to me until I don't see a body. I have hope that she's still alive, but I don't know because of what you're telling me. I'm starting to fucking doubt everything." Another strange thing, while Madeline was missing, Jennifer made no effort to look for her daughter. According to her, the police had already checked the area she thought Madeline could be. And besides the investigation itself, Jennifer didn't seem to struggle much through all of it.
On March 2nd, Stefan Stearns waived his first public appearance in Osceola County Court, choosing to be represented only by his attorney. The judge denied him bond. Aside from this, the official Instagram account of Sheriff Marcos Lopez mistakenly posted a confidential crime scene photo that showed Madeline's remains and the exact clothes she was last seen wearing. Because of this, the state attorney's office fined Sheriff Lopez with a non-criminal infraction, carrying a fine of just only $500. On March 6, newly released court records confirmed that Stefan had been violating Madeline for years. Not long after, police spoke with an old acquaintance he had met while playing the game Warhammer 3 years earlier. The friend found it odd that Stefan and Jennifer were still calling themselves boyfriend and girlfriend after Madeline's disappearance, since he believed they had already split up. Additionally, the friend admitted that Stefan seemed more upset about losing the bond he had with Madeline compared to his breakup with Jennifer. That same day, police also interviewed Stefan's parents, who said that they had always disapproved of his relationship with Jennifer. According to his mother, the concern was because of drug use. His father added that Jennifer was also taking medication for depression and anxiety, and he never believed that she was a good influence on his son. They explained how the two would spend most of their time just sleeping. Additionally, when either of them slipped into a mental health episode, instead of lifting the other up, they only pulled each other deeper down. The next day on March 7th, detectives interviewed Jennifer's roommates to piece together what had happened that night. One of them recalled hearing noises coming from upstairs. Roommate explained that in the past, whenever Madeline and Stefan were left alone together, Jennifer had reassured her that it was fine, that Stefan would never harm Madeline. A few days later, on March 12th, the Orange Osceola State Attorney's Office announced that 60 charges had been filed against Stefan, including 8 counts of sexual battery on a child under 12, 5 counts of sexual battery with a child 12 to 18, 7 counts of lewd and lascivious molestation, and 40 counts of unlawful possession of CSAM 10 or more images. Kissimmee Police Chief Betty Holland addressed the public, stating, "We appreciate the efforts of our partners in the State Attorney's Office in assisting with seeking justice for Madeline. With this being a complex case with many facets, our work is not done, and we are continuing our investigation into the timeline leading up to Madeline's death." A second news conference was held on March 21st. In the conference, Chief Holland described Madeline's case as highly intricate. She exclaimed that detectives were meticulously working to uncover the full timeline of events leading to her tragic death. Chief Holland also stated that everyone close to Madeline is considered a suspect until proven otherwise. The days that followed, Stefan's father reached out to the Northport police to turn over several of his son's belongings from his home and storage unit. Among the items were an old computer, a hard drive, and 2 USB drives. The hard drive appeared unused since 2020 and had no evidence on it, but one of the USB drives contained over 35,000 CSAM images. Later on April 10th, Stephen made a phone call to his father saying, "You know that I would have never wanted that for Madeline. I am not sure really that any one person is specifically responsible. It's probably a combination of factors that led to it. I have never felt anything like that before. It was horrible." His father said that he hoped that the truth would come out, and Stefan simply responded, "Well, yeah." Even in that moment, he was trying to deflect the blame and position himself as just only one of the people responsible.
On April 18th, the Kissimmee police had arranged another interview with Jennifer and her attorney. During the interview, investigators questioned Jennifer about the full timeline of events that unfolded when she returned home on the night of February 25th, 2025. A few days later, on April 24th, Orange Osceola State Attorney Andrew Bain and Kissimmee Police held a news conference to announce that Stefan Stearns had been indicted by a grand jury on first-degree murder in connection with the death of Madeline Soto. In the news conference, Kissimmee Police Chief Betty Holland stated that the evidence shows an individual who was entrusted to keep Madeline safe made calculated moves to dispose of Madeline's belongings and place her body in a wooded area before she was ever reported missing. On September 19th, detectives released further interviews conducted separately with Jennifer and Stefan. When confronted about his lies, Stefan remained silent, eventually requesting an attorney. Jennifer, on the other hand, claimed she only realized Stefan was a predator on May 1st when she was shown the evidence. A detective pressed her, asking, "After you found out he was a predator, didn't you say he needed a lawyer?" Jennifer responded coldly, "I did." Sometimes, in order to protect earlier lies, people lean on further lies or even bring up mental health issues. Stefan tried that as well when a detective asked him on a separate occasion, "Do you have problems with your memory that prevent you from recalling what you did?" Stefan replied, "Yes, I'm extremely ADHD. I'm sorry. Details start to get fuzzy after a while. The times I'm giving you are my best guesses. I didn't have my phone with me at the time, so I wasn't aware of exactly what time it was." But deception only deepened the mess, and eventually, the detectives tore apart the lies and brought the truth to light.
By July of 2025, a plea hearing took place. To avoid the death penalty, Stefan entered a no-contest plea for first-degree murder and admitted guilt to 20 essay-related offenses that he had been charged with. Judge Keith Karsten handed down a life sentence without the possibility of parole for the murder of Madeline Soto, along with life sentences for the 20 essay-related crimes, including battery of a child. Several family members and friends, including Madeline's father, Tyler Wallace, were present and spoke through tears as the court prepared to deliver the formal sentence. Tyler shared that,
"Madeline Soto was my daughter. She was happiness. She was a joy to be around. She was quirky and intelligent. She was curious. A little forgetful like me too. That happens sometimes, but I just loved her so much. And I was not able to be in her life as much as I would like to, due to circumstances and choices I'd made, due to the way finances worked. I was strained in my relationship with my daughter, and that was finally getting better. The last time I saw her was in October of 2023, and she had come to visit for a few days. And when I took her back to the airport, I said, you're turning 13 soon. When you turn 13, you have a choice of which guardian you're interested in staying with. Would you like to stay with me and Tati? And she said yes, that she would. And so I was this close to having my little girl, sir. Because of the actions of this depraved man, I will never meet the woman she was becoming. And I can't grasp it. I can't grasp the selfishness of you, the deplorability of your actions. You're depraved. You're weak. You're a coward. You're a sneak thief. You crept into a family and took advantage and exploited them when they were weak. It's torn my family apart. It's led to arguments about who can go where and who can get what and who can help who, but we're all on edge because it doesn't heal with time. This isn't like other deaths that I've experienced. This just gets worse. It just gets worse every time I rethink about it and the true horror of what this man visited upon her. And I can only hope that he lives a long time in prison and has those same horrors revisited upon him by his fellow inmates. Thank you.
Surprisingly, Stefan also made a brief statement after the sentence was announced, stating,
I agree that it's not fair that Madeline is not here anymore. I still have a hard time contemplating a world where she's not around, a world which feels less vibrant and less colorful than it did before. I have prayed to God countless times to trade places with her, to take me instead. But unfortunately, that's just not how he works. I have nothing but sorrow for her loss, and I miss her all the time. Her passing has torn me and my family apart as well, and she truly was a joy. I pray to God that she is in heaven and that he's taking good care of her. And I hope she gets to join the choir because she had a beautiful voice. I will miss her all the time. I will never not honor her memory. And I apologize for all the pain.
Jennifer Soto, Madeline's mother, was notably absent from the plea hearing. She neither appeared in court nor submitted any statement regarding the sentencing. Her silence was definitely a contrast to the grief and outrage expressed by other family members, but given her history of defending the very person who essayed and murdered her child, her absence came as little surprise to many. And it should be noted that, as of the date of this recording in August of 2025, Jennifer Soto has never been charged. And according to sources, law enforcement do not feel at this time that she has done anything that warrants criminal charges.
As for Madeline, a community vigil was held at the site where her body was discovered on the very day it happened. The event was organized by a group dedicated to seeking justice for her called Boots on the Ground for Maddie. Madeline's father, stepmother, and grandmother also attended the vigil in her honor. Tatiana Wallace, her stepmother, spoke to the gathering saying, "My heart aches as I share with you the pain of losing a child to such a heinous act." Madeline approached life with unwavering optimism and resilience. Her laughter echoed through our home, brightening even the darkest of days. I will miss brushing and braiding your beautiful long blonde hair. Tyler Wallace placed flowers at the site in memory of his daughter and read messages left by others. As he did so, he broke into tears and excused himself from the audience. A year after Madeline's tragic passing, family members and community members gathered at Lakefront Park to honor her memory. A small wall of plush toys was left behind since little Madeline loves stuffed toys. Teresina Niles, Madeline's step-aunt, spoke to those gathered, saying, "I urge you all to be the voice for those who cannot speak. If you see something, say something. Time is fleeting, and silence can be unforgiving. Just when I feared hope had vanished, your presence here proves otherwise.